This is music. This is a greeting. This is a salutation. As a salute, but let's call it a salutation. Congratulations to Rock and Metal Plus for reaching 500 subs. Well deserved. Excellent channel here on YouTube, especially if you're interested in collecting physical music media and if you like metal. He also shows lots of stuff beyond metal, like gothic rock and classic rock. It's just a great channel. Check it out. So to celebrate that he's reached 500 subs, he's launched a contest. And obviously I want to be part of celebrating that because I really like his channel. So this is my entry into the contest. The rules are very simple. Show 5 albums that have had an influence on your music taste. Shout out 5 channels here on YouTube and then let him know that you've made an entry video. So let's start out with the 5 albums. And these are 5 out of many albums that have had an impact on the type of music I like listening to. Now, most of the music I listen to falls under the heading of metal, hard rock, and prog rock. I like other genres too, but the 5 albums I'm going to show you, they all kind of belong to that universe. And I'm going to start out with my favorite album of all time. Not a surprise there to anyone, I think. Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden. This is the album that got me into metal and hard rock and progressive music and got me interested in learning how to make my own music and play instruments and all that stuff. Iron Maiden, my favorite band of all time, my favorite album of all time. The first time I heard this was on a fishing trip, and I was floored by everything about the album. And when I listen to it today, I still get chills, especially from the guitar solos. And this one has Adrian Smith written all over it. So that's the album that got the ball rolling for me. My second favorite band is AC/DC. And the first AC/DC album I heard was Flick of the Switch. But the 2 AC/DC albums that really got me into AC/DC were Razor's Edge and Back in Black. But this album here, Let There Be Rock, was the first Bon Scott album I heard. I like Bon Scott and Brian Johnson equally. But this one has much more of a dirty edge to it, and most of the Bon Scott era albums have more of a dirty edge to them than the Brian Johnson ones do. So this album got me interested in this kind of music more generally, like dirty hard rock. Interestingly enough, it also got me interested in sleazy and glam metal as well. So this really was part of getting the hard rock ball rolling. Maybe this one, along with Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses and No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims by Disneyland After Dark. Another genre that I love, which I think most people know, is thrash metal. And I remember back in the day going to the music library, picking up thrash metal albums. Don't remember what all of them were. I do remember picking up some Slayer and Persistence of Time. They didn't really click with me back then. I love them now, but back then they just didn't click with me. The album that did was this one here, Injustice for All. And to me, this is a thrash metal album. I know some people say Metallica stopped playing thrash metal on Ride the Lightning, even though that one has Fight Fire with Fire. So if that's not a thrash metal song, I don't know what is. Anyways, this is a thrash metal album to me. It has fast songs, aggressive songs, machine gun, bass drums. It's a thrash metal album to me. For some reason, this clicked with me immediately. I think it's actually the weird and wonky production. And also James Hetfield's vocals, because I had never heard anyone sing like that before. And it's a fantastic album. It remains one of my favorite albums of all time. And along with Master of Puppets, it's my favorite Metallica album. So this one got me interested in checking out Metallica's other discography, which at the time was just the first 5 albums. And maybe even the first 4 albums. The Black Album maybe came yeah, I heard this one before the Black Album came out, actually, because the Black Album disappointed me a little bit. Anyways, it also made me want to check out Megadeth, and you know, eventually Slayer and Anthrax would click with me, and also Exodus, Testament, Artillery, you know, all that stuff that I love today. Another genre that I really love, but I'm very picky about it, is doom metal, and I can pinpoint 2 albums that got me into that genre. One of them is Count Raven's Storm Warning, and the other one is this masterpiece here, Beyond the Crimson Horizon by Solitude Aeternus. Epic doom metal. The songs are slow, they take their time, it's very ornate, very epic, and you know, just crazy vocals. And it's very interesting that this album, with this epic magnitude, and then Count Raven's Storm Warning, which is more of a dense album, more repetitive album, much less layered than this one, that these are the 2 albums that got me into doom metal. And I think it's also because, maybe mostly because of this one, that I'm very picky about doom metal, because this is a very high bar. So there you go. I like lots of different genres of music, lots of different metal genres, but the last one I'm going to talk about today is death metal, because that's a genre I actually struggled with a lot to begin with. I could hear there was something there, the energy, the musicianship, but I had a hard time with the vocals, you know, the guttural vocals. But there were 3 bands and 4 albums that got me, kind of opened me up towards appreciating death metal in general. So it was Death Symbolic, and Entombed's Left Hand Path, and Clandestine, and then Obituaries, The End Complete, which is a fantastic album in general. Especially the title track. To me, this is the epitome of the Obituary style and sound. And with an album like this, and Left Hand Path, Clandestine, and Symbolic, you can only become a death metal fan after having heard those albums. So that's a very important album in basically getting me into extreme metal in general. I like more genres, but those were the 5 albums that I decided to talk about. Now, the 5 shoutouts. First, Clark O. Vision. She doesn't do videos frequently, but when she does, they are long form videos. They're very detailed, just very interesting to hear her thoughts on those albums that she shows and talks about. So check that out. I also want to shout out Christian Osorio. He shows lots of late 80s and like 90s hard rock and metal and alternative rock, and he's a very supportive member of the vinyl community as well. I also want to shout out Garage Geek, very entertaining, and his channel is perhaps the odd man out because it is a vinyl community channel, but it's also a geek culture channel. So he shows comics and movies and even works of literature and stuff. So it's lots of variation, but very entertaining as well. I also want to shout out Metal Down Under. He's very supportive of women in metal. So he shows and talks about lots of bands that are female fronted, or they're all women, or some of the members are women. And he's just a very generous member of the vinyl community as well, and he makes great videos. And I also want to shout out the Mighty Metal Marty Mac over in Ireland. Great content, shows lots of cassette tapes and CDs and vinyl, and most of it is metal, all different sorts of styles of metal. And it's also very interesting because he's kind of getting into black metal now. He's been getting into it over the last couple of years, so it's interesting to follow his journey into black metal. So yeah, check out those 5 channels. So again, congratulations to Rock and Metal Plus for reaching 500 subs. Well done, well deserved. Here's to 500 more. Thanks for watching.